be prepared for a shocking revelation. Imagine this famous figure, who is known for his gruff demeanor, utterly losing it after learning that the woman he trusted has been playing him for years. Jim Jones came out of nowhere, and what's even more bizarre is that he was fully unprepared for it. Before we get into the shocking details of Brooke Bailey walking away with a $19 million settlement, let's take a moment to examine the public personas of the two individuals at the center of this scandal. Brooke Bailey, recently divorced, walks away with a $19 million divorce settlement thanks to a master plan that she executed. But was it all part of the plan from the beginning? Keep watching to learn how she deceived Jim Jones and walked away with a fortune, and how it's upending the world of celebrities and relationships like never before. Before everything started to fall apart, Jim Jones's and Brooke Bailey's romance appeared to be the stuff of celebrity dreams. Jim Jones, the legendary rapper and member of the Dipset crew, has always given off the impression of being self-assured, powerful, and devoted. He is the kind of guy who loves attention, and when he first came to the public eye, he made it apparent that drama was nothing new to him. However, as the years passed, his relationship with Brooke Bailey became something that many fans watched intently, hoping it would be a dream come true. Conversely, Brooke became well known in the reality TV industry, particularly through her appearances on Basketball Wives. She was the quintessential ride-or-die girlfriend who stood by Jim Jones, through thick and thin to the world. Many fans believed that they would be a power couple forever, and social media posts showed their lavish vacations, their intense love, and their perfect moments together. But behind the curtain, things were never as picture-perfect as they seemed. As the couple appeared in public, more and more cracks in their relationship began to show, and whispered rumors about Brooke Bailey's true intentions started to circulate. The couple's close friends started to wonder about what was going on behind the scenes. Was Brooke as faithful as she seemed, or was there more to the story? The first clue was when she was seen at several high-profile events without Jim by her side. Was it just another example of her hectic schedule, or was it a sign of their growing distance? The rumors only got louder, and then Jim started having outbursts more frequently. It wasn't until Brooke abruptly left the relationship that everything fell apart. And this is where the story takes a crazy turn, as Jim started responding more emotionally to rumors circulating about their relationship. The man who had previously appeared composed under pressure started displaying signs of frustration. He would post cryptic messages online bemoaning his dissatisfaction with loyalty and relationships. Brooke Bailey's tactful plan started to take shape. The divorce was imminent, but what came next would astound everyone. When Brooke Bailey declared she was divorcing Jim Jones, it wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was the beginning. Jim emerged unexpectedly, and fans couldn't believe the two were leaving after everything they'd gone through. But behind closed doors, it was part of a brilliantly planned exit strategy that no one saw coming. Let's take a moment to appreciate the seriousness of what transpired here. Since Brooke had been preparing for this moment for months, the rapper Jim Jones, who is well known for his extravagant persona, never imagined that he would be the one going through a significant shock. But as the weeks before the divorce progressed, the flaws in his relationship with Brooke became clear, while he was still juggling the demands of his music career, public persona, and business endeavors. In fact, according to people close to her, Brooke had already started consulting with well-known divorce lawyers well before she made the decision public. She had begun carefully documenting her assets and ensuring that her financial security was well protected months in advance. So she wasn't just getting ready to leave a relationship, she was getting ready to secure a fortune. Now let's examine how she executed the pre-divorce strategy while Jim was preoccupied with his music. As Jim's career changed, Brooke discreetly started to build her own empire. She invested in businesses, promoted herself as an influencer, and established a platform that gave her leverage in the divorce. She knew that with her large following, she could demonstrate her value in terms of both personal assets and her contribution to their relationship. Brooke strategically chose the right time to file for divorce. She knew that Jim's empire, though successful, had started to face challenges. His business ventures were not as stable as they once were, and Brooke understood that the moment for her to strike was when his financial standing was uncertain. Timing the filing for divorce during a downturn in his finances ensured that she would receive a more substantial settlement. She would be able to secure the $19 million figure she wanted without Jim being able to fight it. The emotional leverage. While Brooke was preparing herself financially, she was also laying the emotional groundwork as Jim continued to pour his time and energy into his career. Brooke made sure to stay connected with key figures in the industry, from lawyers to influencers. Even social media personalities. She had positioned herself as a woman scorned, and you know what that means in the court of public opinion, by ensuring the public saw her as the victim. She could generate the emotional support necessary to put pressure on Jim during the divorce proceedings, the $19 million settlement, and then just like that, the bomb dropped, the divorce papers were filed, and the court battles began. Jim was blindsided. He never saw it coming. Suddenly, Brooke was demanding a hefty sum. But here's the thing. She wasn't just asking for money, she was strategically negotiating for a settlement that would be justifiable under the eyes of the law, with her branding business ventures and emotional claims about her sacrifices in their relationship. She made a compelling case. Her lawyers were experts at maximizing her potential payout, making sure that the $19 million wasn't just a number. It was a calculated amount based on everything she had contributed to Jim's success over the years, both publicly and privately. The negotiations were intense, with Jim reportedly offering a lower sum at first, but Brooke held her ground. Her legal team was sharp, pushing for what they knew she was entitled to, and Brooke Bailey walked away with $19 million, leaving Jim stunned and, according to sources, angry for him. The settlement was not just a financial loss. It felt like a betrayal from someone he thought he knew so well. But the real question is how. Did Brooke manage to convince Jim that this was all part of the plan, without him realizing the true extent of what was happening behind the scenes? The divorce papers' ink was only beginning to dry, but the consequences were already beginning to show. The emotional and psychological toll that Brooke Bailey's successful divorce from Jim Jones, which resulted in a staggering $19 million settlement, took on the man who once seemed unstoppable in the public eye, was even more shocking. Although Jim's life seemed to be going as usual after the divorce, posting his usual content, promoting his music, and hanging out with his crew, friends and co-workers noticed the subtle changes in his behavior, realizing that he was no longer the self-assured, charismatic rapper fans had grown accustomed to seeing him. Instead, he seemed disconnected, distant, and at times visibly shaken by what had transpired. Jim's emotional breakdown for Jim Jones. The reality of his divorce was a punch to the gut. He'd been through plenty of public drama in his career, but this was different. It wasn't just a scandal. It was the end of a long chapter of his personal life. Those close to him began to speak out, revealing that Jim struggled with feelings of betrayal. He had truly believed in the relationship he had with Brooke. Despite the tension that had been building for months, the fact that she had been preparing for this moment, plotting her escape while keeping a facade of harmony, hit him hard. Multiple sources confirmed that Jim went through a period of deep reflection, even questioning his ability to trust people. He spoke publicly about the pain he felt from the breakup, calling out his ex for playing her cards so expertly. While he had been blind to the signs, some of Jim's followers took to social media expressing their sympathy, while others criticized him for not seeing the red flags. Jim's cryptic Instagram post. "Sometimes you realize that the people closest to you are the ones who know how to hurt you the most," was one of the most telling moments. It was obvious that he was talking about his divorce, and his followers couldn't help but notice the raw vulnerability behind the bravado. However, Jim wasn't just dealing with emotional pain. He was also dealing with the backlash of a fractured image as a public figure. Jim's reputation had always been linked to his tough, uncompromising demeanor, but in the wake of his divorce, that persona was beginning to crumble as media, fans, and critics alike discussed how Brooke Bailey had outsmarted him at every turn, hurting his career and eroding public confidence in the entertainment sector. An image is everything, and Jim Jones's was suddenly in jeopardy. His music, which had once dominated the charts, was suddenly not as commercially successful as it had been. His reality TV appearances, which had once been a crucial component of his brand, started to wane as viewers were more interested in the drama of his failed relationship than in his artistic endeavors. Despite his best efforts to keep his career afloat, the loss of public trust started to affect him after his emotional breakdown. In interviews, Jim's connections with his business partners, fellow artists, and even fans began to feel strained. Jim didn't seem to be the witty, sharp-witted person he used to be, and his performances lacked the confidence and vigor that previously made him a formidable force in the business. On top of that, there was the backlash on social media. Critics and admirers started to publicly wonder if Jim had let his personal life interfere with his success in the workplace. Jim had been the kind of person who thrived on maintaining control, but now he was at the mercy of public perception. Perhaps the most unexpected effect was the change in how the media portrayed him. For years, Jim had been seen as a reality TV king, an artist who could navigate the chaotic world of fame with ease. Now that his marriage was over and his image was tarnished, the media shifted their tone. Gossip outlets were quick to capitalize on his vulnerability, and his divorce became the talk of the town, overshadowing any professional accomplishments. While Jim was struggling to get back on his feet, Brooke Bailey was living her best life and taking advantage of the attention she received from the media by appearing on podcasts and in interviews where she talked about her personal journey and the strength it took to make the difficult decision to leave. The $19 million settlement opens up new opportunities in the entertainment industry. Jim, in contrast to Brooke, appeared to handle the fallout with poise and forethought. She swiftly repositioned herself as a strong, independent woman who had made the difficult decision to put her future first. The media praised her for it, and she was soon mentioned in articles about her empowerment, since the public seemed more likely to commend her for playing the game better than Jim. Brooke's newfound prominence only served to fuel the rumors surrounding her divorce. Some people started to question whether she had been the mastermind behind their relationship from the beginning, pulling the strings. Her poise and calm demeanor in interviews only served to fuel the fire. Even though Jim Jones and Brooke Bailey's drama began with a shocking divorce, the long-term impacts of their split are still being felt today. They break their lives in ways that no one could have foreseen. Jim Jones was a legend in the hip-hop industry, a member of the legendary Dipset crew, and a person who had perfected the art of remaining relevant for decades. However, after the divorce, the once vibrant energy Jim exuded started to fade. Many people were left wondering if Jim Jones would make a comeback after the dust settled. The battle to restore his reputation, Jim's reputation took a huge hit after. It was revealed that he had been taken by surprise by Brooke's divorce strategy. Fans who had previously viewed him as a tough, unstoppable man started to doubt his judgment in both his personal and professional life and his social media presence, which had once offered an unvarnished glimpse into his life, started to feel forced. Even his hard-hitting rap lyrics about loyalty, money, and family seemed hollow in the wake of the scandal. But Jim wasn't ready to fade into the background just yet. Slowly, he started to address his emotions through his music, pouring his frustrations and vulnerabilities into his art. It wasn't the same bravado-fueled sound that fans had loved, but it was real, and people started to listen again as he worked through his pain and redemption. Jim's career started to change course as he entered a new stage and began to adopt a more thoughtful and mature approach to both his music and public persona. But it wasn't just about the music. Jim also needed to rebuild his personal brand, which required taking back control of his story. He admitted in interviews that the divorce had been painful and that it had pushed him to mature as a person. He leaned into the character of who had grown from his mistakes and accepted full responsibility for the things he could have done differently. Although this sensitivity was novel for Jim, many people who had grown weary of his prior character found it refreshing. Jim has been more visible in the business world recently, demonstrating his ability to adapt and evolve. His new ventures, outside of the music industry such as real estate and fashion, have not only kept him in the public eye but have also helped him secure his legacy outside of rap. However, despite his efforts to move on, the shadow of his divorce from Brooke Bailey still looms large. The media continues to bring it up in discussions of his personal life, and fans continue to comment on how he was outmaneuvered by his ex. Nevertheless, Jim is determined to show the world that he's not defined by his past. He's learning to balance his personal struggles with his drive for success, and while the road to redemption isn't easy, Jim is obviously not going down without a fight. While Brooke Bailey has prospered since the divorce and the $19 million settlement gave her the financial independence she required, that was only the beginning for Brooke, who has a new empire on the horizon. The divorce wasn't merely a conclusion. Rather, it was a fresh start that gave her the opportunity to take charge of her professional life, public persona, and personal story. Branding and company growth. Using the emotional leverage from her divorce, Brooke quickly rebranded herself as an entrepreneur and media mogul, appealing to her expanding fan base and garnering widespread attention as a woman who had overcome the odds to achieve financial and personal freedom. Brooke has embraced her status as a strong, independent woman in the entertainment industry. One of the most noteworthy features of Brooke's post-divorce career has been her ability to generate multiple revenue streams. She has established her own lifestyle brand and become an influencer in the fashion and wellness industries, demonstrating that she is a businesswoman and not just a reality TV star. She is also well aware of her marketability. Brooke has used her platform to advertise her businesses and message of empowerment, and she has been featured in magazines, podcasts, and interviews. Although Brooke has obviously seized every opportunity that has presented itself to her, her aspirations don't end there. There have been speculations in recent months that she intends to start her own reality program that will highlight her life as a single lady establishing her company. For Brooke, the divorce served as more than simply an emotional separation. It was the impetus for a change in her public persona, career, and sense of empowerment. Brooke also utilized her divorce as a springboard for self-improvement. She became an inspiration to women in troubled relationships, and her story spoke to many who had to make the difficult choice to leave harmful relationships. The impact of her $19 million settlement was significant, but one of the most significant aspects of Brooke's post-divorce life was the financial windfall she received. With $19 million in hand, she was able to secure her future, invest in her business ventures, and live the lifestyle of her dreams. The settlement gave her a buffer to increase her influence without worrying about financial instability, giving her the space to dream bigger, and she did just that. Her social media became a platform for women to share their own stories, demonstrating that Brooke was more than just a divorce. She was a symbol of tenacity. While Jim is still striving for his atonement, Brooke's post-divorce path has been nothing short of extraordinary, and the contrast between their approaches to the aftermath could not be more stark. As we conclude the story of Jim Jones and Brooke Bailey, Brooke has already gotten hers, demonstrating that in the entertainment industry it's not always about being the victim, but rather about how you advance. Where do they go from here? One thing is certain. The public spectacle of their divorce has permanently altered both of them. While Brooke, who had fulfilled the role of the supporting spouse, is now a force to be reckoned with in her own right, Jim, the rapper who formerly dominated the spotlight, is attempting to restore his career, image, and sense of self.